Welcome to my makeshift library. So this is my journal. I have this like to keep track of which books are what. It is March 14th, 2024. So 2.5, almost 3 months in. This is my current reading log. So I've only not read 2 days of the entire year so far. This is my current reading log of the books that I've read. I have read 14 books so far this year. 5 out of the 14 are 5-star reads. When it comes to my rating of my books, I'm pretty strict because a 5 to me is a 5. There's nothing better. I could not see myself rating it any lower. And if it's not a 5, then most of the time I'm thinking I can't rate this a 5. Like, it's just not a 5. So far, out of all 14 books I've read, the lowest is a 3, and there's only 3 3s. So January I read 9 books. That was my kickstart of my year of reading. I had 2 weeks where I was not working and I did not have school, that I literally just read every single day. So that helped me jumpstart my reading for 2024. My goal for the year is 20 and I'm already at 14, so I feel pretty confident that I'll meet my goal. I only had 1 5-star read in all of January, and that is Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. I don't have the copy because my mom was nice enough to let me borrow the book, but I had to return it because it is one of her favorite books as well. I don't even have my other Jodi Picoult. This is Jodi Picoult. I got my sister's keeper. If you watched my hometown friend visits me in college video, I got this in that video. But my other Jodi Picoult book I am loaning to my boyfriend to read because I enjoyed it. That was 19 minutes. Small Great Things was my second ever Jodi Picoult book. I really like her writing style, so Small Great Things was a really great book. I'm grateful that out of the 9 books I did read, at least one of them was a 5-star. Most of the other ones were 4, so it's not too bad of a month. If there's any takeaway message from this, read a Jodi Picoult book. If there's anything you could do from watching this and listening to me ramble on about books, go read a Jodi Picoult book. It will change your life. February was a little bit of a smaller reading month for me. I only read 3 books that month, but every single book that I read in February, all 3, were 5-star reads. I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. This book I think I got for Christmas when I was very young, and I had had it for years and years and years, and I never read it. This book was amazing. It took me 2 days to read. Once I got started, I really could not stop. If any of you know Delaney Bailey, she's a singer, and her song Jay's Lullaby is kind of hinting about this book. This book was definitely a 5-star read. The second book I read in February was Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna, and for those of you who don't know, Firefly Lane is also a Netflix TV show with Katherine Heigl. This book is large. It's very, very hefty, but I finished it in 6 days, so not even a week, because once I started, I was so hooked and I could not wait to read it every single day. I 100% prefer the book over the TV show. I did enjoy the TV show. I did watch it. They just changed a lot of things that were very important to the plot of the book that I don't see why they changed it in the film. It's very much a girlhood, growing up, best friend type of book. So if you do enjoy that, I would definitely recommend this. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about this book. It definitely was worth the 5-star rating because I did enjoy this. Now, the next book is the last book I read in February. This book took me 20 days to read, so this is, I think, so far my longest book I've read. I read this book before. I talked about it in my 2023 reads of the year. That is A Little Life. I read A Little Life again. I don't usually reread books so back to back, and especially not 800-page books, but something was just calling out to me to reread A Little Life. There's 2 points I would like to make about reading this for the second time. First of all, the beginning 300 pages were so much easier to get through because the first 300 pages are character development, describing who the characters are so you get to know them. and I already knew who the characters were, so it was a lot easier to flow through and read because I wasn't constantly thinking, wait, who is that again? Having to go back and remember who they were talking about because I already knew. Second of all, the ending did not hurt as bad because I knew what was coming. The first time I read A Little Life, I did sob uncontrollably for a really long time afterwards. This time I just shed a tear or two, which I was expecting to uncontrollably sob again. But because I knew what was coming, it just didn't hit me as hard. And that's, I think, why I enjoyed reading it the first time so much, is because it really, not to say I like to cry, but it really made me feel something. Overall, this is probably one of my favorite books I've ever read, so I did rate it 5 stars. So now we're into May, which is the current month, and I have read 2 books. I just finished one an hour ago, a book and its sequel. The first book I did rate 5 stars, the second one not so much, and I will explain why. Because once you see what book it is, you might have some opinions. My most recent 5-star read is If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I have not been so invested into a book like this book. I don't really have much to say about it because I was speechless in the end. If you have not read this book, you need to. I think this is my favorite. I think this is my favorite book I read so far in 2024. Out of the 14 books, I think this one might be my number 1. I can't even talk about it because you just need to read it. You just need to trust me and you need to read it. So I rated this one 5 stars. So because I read this one, of course I had to read this one, which I just bought last week at Barnes & Noble and I just finished it today. And it just was not as good. I did not like the middle portion, but the beginning and the end I did really enjoy. But because I didn't really enjoy the middle portion, I did rate it only a 4. But this one, 5, 100%. These 4 plus Small Great Things are all of my 5-star reads for the year. Comment down below what your favorite book that you have read so far this year, if you have read any, or if not, then let me know one book you are wanting to read this year. We thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.